Hey, it's Bill, and you're tuned into the Pennsylvania Rock Show, featuring the best unsigned rock and metal that Pennsylvania has to offer, right here on PARockShow.com, MegaRockRadio.net, and 107.1 FM in St. Louis, Missouri, XRPRadio.co.uk in the Highlands of Scotland, RoodWooRadio.com on the beaches of San Diego, California, oldiesxl.com out of Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, and buildascene.com/radio. This is the Pennsylvania Rock Show, episode number 639. With me tonight, as I pop them up on the screen, are the members of Stereo Scandal. I think I got all the stations that time. Why don't you real quick, even though it has your names listed on the video, it will not in the audio version. So why don't you say hello and tell us what you do in the band for us real quick. Eeny, meeny, miny, mo.
Okay, wow. I'm Casey. I am our lead singer and tambourine player.
I'm Chad and I play bass.
Cannot hear anything.
Well, I'm Dave. I can hear and I play guitar.
I'm Tammy. I play guitar and sing backing vocals.
And Dan, who can hear nothing, is our drummer.
Okay, then. While he tries to figure that out, we'll just
roll with it,
him, right?
Yeah.
Come back, Dad.
So now is when I asked that question about embarrassing moments, right?
Right. Yeah.
We're working on it right now.
In it. Okay, so
I feel like he's
promised Tammy that I was going to ask a question I haven't asked her before, so we're going to get that one out of the way so that I don't forget.
Oh.
Hey, Tammy.
Okay.
And this goes to everybody, but I'm directing it her because she's going to be the one I have to worry about.
Sure. Yeah, see, now I never answer. Well, it's better I go last, but okay. Go ahead.
Hey, so you can invite 4 people from the history of the world to dinner. Who is coming to eat with you? And you have to pick at least one musician.
Wait, 4?
4.
Oh. My grandfather on my dad's side.
This is good getting ideas here.
Marilyn Monroe, because I just watched that terrible, I don't think it was that great Netflix thing, and I just want to know. And wait, I need a musician. Oh. Robert Johnson.
Cheater.
Yeah.
Is that
see, now I have to ask that question. You did it too.
I know, but who else? Keith Moon. That's whack.
I'm sorry, my sound is back, but I didn't hear the questions. My audio just completely dropped.
It'll get you. Don't worry.
Okay, good.
All right, Dave.
So you're next.
Dave, can I call you Dave, or do you prefer David?
That's fine. Dave's fine.
Okay.
I get all kinds of names from these guys. So hey.
Well, if you were at school with me in Spanish class, I would call you David. But
nah, don't do that.
All right, so 4 people from the history of the world that you can invite to dinner. Who's coming to eat with you?
History. Well, this is not history, but my grandfather on my dad's side, because he died in 1949 and never met him. So that'd be kind of cool. Jimmy Page, because he's one of my biggest influences. Thomas Jefferson. And I'll throw a weird one in. Margaret Bourke White, a photographer from the early 1900s. One of the first light photographers.
Do I get to call everybody out, or does somebody want to go next?
I'll go next, I guess. I'd probably go with maybe Miles Davis. I think Miles Davis would be interesting as musicians go. Probably Christopher Hitchens, smart guy, he's funny. And 4, huh? Yeah, I think Abraham Lincoln seems a little obvious and cheesy, but I'm still going with Abraham Lincoln. And for 4th one, maybe an artist like Picasso or I'll go with Picasso. Interesting life. And, Cassie.
Cool. Do they have to be dead? Did you say dead or alive?
History of the world. You can pick anybody.
Okay. I would have to say Marilyn Monroe because she's just really cool. Amy Winehouse. Matt Bellamy, the lead singer of Muse. They've been my favorite band for like 15 years, and I get a lot of inspiration from him. And also Snoop Dogg because.
Awesome.
Have you seen the new Snoop Dogg commercial sitting on the beach with the guy and they're rhyming?
Yeah.
Yeah, I would definitely be that guy that Snoop Dogg was making fun of.
Yeah, he's awesome.
Okay, Dan, I think that leaves you.
It does. Freddie Mercury, for sure. He would be up there. I'm a huge football fan, or AKA soccer fan. So, Pele would be up there. I'm also
Pele for our American friends.
So Tom Hardy, I think he's a class actor.
Oh, that's a good one.
Bane.
And
Yeah.
finally,
Act.
probably John Bonham, just because from a drumming perspective, he's right there.
All right. So first I popped up, I don't know if you saw, I popped up the comment from Mudville Casey. He is a punk rocker from Pittsburgh. So if anyone's not familiar with him, he just put out new music as well. Maybe he'll pop the address that can be found at up in the chat as well, because I don't remember off the top of my head. For any of you that are watching this live, if you're on Build the Scenes Facebook or any of the YouTube channels and you type in a comment, it will show up and we can interact with you. But on XRP Radio or First Angel Media, because those are cross-posted, I don't believe those comments show up. But I could be wrong, because StreamYard and Facebook just made changes this week. So Mudville Casey says Pele and Ali are the only ones whose presence stopped wars in progress. He has an interesting backstory. I'm not going to tell his backstory on the show right now, but check out Mudville Casey's backstory. And check out the Pennsylvania Rock Show on the 28th, where I will be interviewed by a Russian radio broadcaster.
Oh, there you go. He's got his link.
ReverbNation.com/Mighty Casey. All right, so let's move on to another question. First of all, I gotta ask this question, Dan. Are you in the United States or are you elsewhere right now?
I'm in England, but I fly over to Pittsburgh on a weekly basis because that's how committed I am. I live in Pittsburgh.
Okay. Well, XRP was originally from Birmingham, United Kingdom.
Nice.
And then the owner moved recently to Scotland. So
that's a logical move. I can see that.
And he has a moat, but he won't put any water in it, and he won't put an alligator in it.
Oh.
I don't get it.
Yeah, I don't think there's too many alligators there, to be honest. I could be wrong, but
I told him to order a caiman, which is a little mini alligator.
Sure.
Sure. Seems a logical
Listen,
choice.
his fiance's in. He just can't convince. She can't convince him. Anyway, she's in Chicago, so maybe we have some kind of link going on, being Americans.
I'm not going to win any fight with any of you, so you're all right and you're all the best.
All right, so his answers may be different to some of these questions because of I'm assuming you grew up in England.
Correct.
Okay, yeah, that could change some answers.
Oh, yeah,
All right.
they're going to be different. That's for sure.
So Kiss played in a bay in Australia to sharks. There were boats around their boat baiting the sharks, so they played. And Metallica has played in Antarctica. What is a non-traditional venue that you would like to play at? So basically, anywhere in the world that you could just plug in, where are you going to plug in at?
Oh. Anywhere in the world. Wow. You know, I'm not sure why I'm even thinking of this, but I played a show once. Kind of the most interesting place I've ever played was this bar that got tacked onto a hockey rink, and the back glass of the bar were the boards of the hockey rink. So as you're playing throughout, you're just seeing people getting smashed into these boards, you know, while you're trying to play the show. And honestly, it was one of the most interesting places I've ever played. It got a big draw because of that. It's a pretty fun place.
They don't break through the glass, do they?
No, well, it shook the whole bar, like behind them. So it wasn't like there was the glass and then another piece of glass. It was
Right.
literally like you're playing, and in the middle of it, you just hear bang and then fighting and bang and then fighting. Yeah, it's good times.
I think it'd be cool to play in the middle of like nowhere, in the middle of like a giant enchanted forest in like Denmark or something. That'd be sick.
Well,
Yeah.
no, that's yeah.
I would go with just, and this is related to the radio stations, ironically, but I would go with a big castle in Scotland. Like, I think that would just be a really cool vibe, just out there in the middle of, you know, the grand hall and people looking all around, like 360 audience. That's kind of cool.
I was just thinking, I'm trying to think of somewhere tropical, like a island. Does that work? And maybe can we make it like Johnny Depp's private island? Then he can also jam with us and, you know, maybe act like a pirate sometimes and bring rum.
It's a solid choice, Tammy. Solid choice.
Probably because I just saw a picture of it in front of Devil's Tower. Maybe kind of a big, good scenic background would be kind of cool.
See, I forgot about Tammy mentioning Robert Johnson earlier, and now he said Devil's Tower, so it brought it back. So I'm going to ask before I forget. Tammy, you, if you want, can skip this one. I'm pretty sure I've asked this one at least twice of you.
But we haven't heard it yet.
Yeah, I don't know what I said last time. You can ask me again.
Okay. All right. So for anyone who's not familiar with Robert Johnson, blues guitarist, legend goes he was terrible. He left for a year, came back, was phenomenal. And the legend is that he met the devil at a crossroads and signed his soul away to be a good guitar player. So my question is, if you're waiting at those same crossroads, what are you offering the devil and what are you getting in return?
Ooh.
What am I offering?
Yeah, I had to change it up a little bit because you've answered it a few times.
Well, I have to give him something?
Well, I mean, you could, if you want to give your soul up for a third time, go ahead.
Doesn't he just want souls?
I mean,
yeah, does it have to be
maybe he wants his golden fiddle back. Come on, that went over everybody's head.
Oh man, I heard.
No, yeah, Devil and Dad George's right there. Yeah.
I was just thinking,
Yeah. No. You're
how
good.
easy
You're
can
good.
this be? Can I just give him like a coffee cup, or do I need?
I don't know. What are you asking for? Is he gonna trade you a tour bus for a coffee top?
Probably not.
That sounds fair.
How about I give him? I would give him my Les Paul for
How dare you?
to be healthy the rest of my life and die at like 110 in my sleep of just because I'm 110. So that way I've traded a guitar to have eternal health.
And she'll be on Johnny Depp's island, and he has guitars.
Right.
Sounds like a good
And
setup.
he'll probably be living just as long with me, I'm going to guess.
Because he's drank enough to make his organs be
Pickles.
yeah.
What's the problem?
Did I say that out loud? Anybody else want to attempt this one, or are you all going? How am I?
Yes, I've got one.
Okay.
I would. First of all, where's the devil from? Is he American?
Clearly, yeah.
I mean,
Is this the only country
I
in the
think
world?
he's
I
a
get
fallen angel, but I've never met him.
So I would trade my English accent. That's my bargaining chip.
Ooh.
And every time that I ate unhealthy food or beer or whiskey, it didn't add calories. It was a healthy option, and that's my superpower. So no matter how much amazing food I ate, I would lose weight. And then when I ate salads and stuff, I would put on weight. That's
should
my
be proud of this.
It's a pretty sweet superpower.
All right. So Casey says the devil's from Manchester.
Oh, in that case, then I've got nothing. Because
Yeah.
I've got no
Because
trading
he's
power
red.
here. And he's red from Manchester. Yeah, it's game over. I'm a Chelsea fan, so we're done.
I don't know.
I would trade my soul
Ooh.
for a lot of things, but I think a fair trade would be to be able to time travel. That'd be cool.
Oh, that's a good
See?
one.
That's a solid
You
answer.
just segued into another question.
Another question. Yeah. See, and this is why it's not my fault. I don't even remember who answered and who didn't.
Well, I mean,
I haven't
Chad
answered yet, but I'm not really sure. God, what I'd trade for? I think, I mean, I have a guitar that's sort of. I think I'd go the same route. Like I have a guitar that's like it's a Gibson 350T, like a really nice hollow body Gibson, and I'd probably trade that, for just a lifetime of health to never have to deal with any of that sort of stuff. I think that's yeah, I'd trade for that for sure.
I think that we're hoping that the devil has a thing for musical instruments, with the fiddle and everything. So
What did Dan give?
throw him a guitar and then he'll
Well,
Yeah,
I mean, a fiddle has strings.
sure. Yeah.
I mean, I would trade my drum kit in to the devil so that Dave had less pedals. Is that
Why
Yeah.
so much hate?
I
is that I don't know if
Triggered.
that's a trade or not, but that's probably a request I would put in.
This is
have
every
to-
practice.
Dave has more guitar pedals than honestly, like the three bands that we're playing with. Dave has more guitar pedals than all of them. Yeah,
You
yeah.
think?
It's
We'll see.
it's absurd.
We'll see next
It's
week.
absurd.
I will trade in my guitar pedals. See, there you go.
Oh,
I will
please
give
do.
my guitar. I will give my guitar pedals to travel to other planets. Go see Mars and like around.
No segue
Jupiter.
there. I have to figure out a question to go with that one.
Yeah.
But the time
See?
travel one, she walked right into. Okay, so you're leaving a gig. You're loading your stuff up, and you notice that there's a DeLorean sitting there with its door open and a flux capacitor in the back seat. So clearly you can borrow it. Notice I didn't say steal, because you can bring it back at the exact same time. No one will know you had it. So who are you going back in time to hang out with? What band?
Aw,
What band?
Is this to see a band or to hang out and like have a beer?
I had a totally different answer for this one.
So whichever way you want to handle it, Dan.
Okay, so I would go back to 1986 Wembley Stadium Queen Live Aid.
See, I told you Wembley
that's
was going to be
good.
an answer.
Yeah,
This wasn't the one I thought, but
that's a good one.
That's a good one.
I would go back to the Prohibition era to a speakeasy with a big band. And we'd be dancing.
Mm,
That's solid, Cassie.
Yeah, I'd probably go like 1950s New York to hear some of like the bebop jazz bands, like Miles Davis, stuff like that.
I'm gonna keep
Sure.
the theme. I don't know where she would play, but Billie Holiday. See Billie Holiday play.
Oh yeah, that's a good one.
I was gonna say Led Zeppelin, but then you guys went a different direction. I'm like, I gotta go back further.
I would,
I'm taking 2 trips. I'm gonna see Zeppelin in the mid-'70s on the Physical Graffiti tour.
Again,
Then
you can set the time. No one will know that you took it.
it
So-
depends on what you want to do. Yeah, I mean, if you want to party, I was thinking.
and then go see dinosaurs. I want to see dinosaurs.
Of course.
Oh, yeah. I don't know.
So,
I'm trying to think of another answer. I was gonna
CBGBs in the 80s.
You know what? Because I wrote a paper on it, I would go to Woodstock.
That'd be cool.
So this question, it originates from a social studies curriculum meeting that I went to. And one of the high school teachers asked me if I could go back in time to any event in history, where would I go? And I said Woodstock. And then I sat there, I was like, I'm changing this question and I'm using it.
Yeah, I guess that's not a band, but I would get a bunch of bands.
Well, yeah.
Mhm.
So,
And hopefully out of there before it went off the rocker.
yeah, and so hopefully I come back not covered in mud and, tripping and stuff like that.
Yeah. So I alluded to the pizza question earlier, so I'm going to ask it. So as a musician, what is the best pizza you've ever had because you're a musician? So that means either at a gig, on your way to or from a gig, on your way to record at the recording studio, something along those lines.
Wow. So my wife is from New York, so this is a very particular question. How I answer this sort of depends on
Is
honestly
she
some of
watching?
the success of. Yeah, she is. She in
Cover
fact,
your ears.
Yeah. And I'm going to say this, and she's going to be so upset because she's from New York, and it's got to be New York style pizza. It was in our wedding vows, no joke. But I'm originally from St. Louis. I love St. Louis style pizza. Most people don't even know what it is. It's like this super thin, crackery crust, and this type of cheese called Provel, which is like, it's like, it's sort of like if Velveeta and provolone had a baby. It would be like that. You kind of have to grow up with it, but it is amazing. And Emo's Pizza after a show is like the greatest thing in the world. It's so good from St. Louis. Get it on Goldbelly, try it. You probably tell me it's gross, but I love it. I know Dan's just dreading this question because the Englishman.
I don't like pizza.
What's the equivalent of pizza in England?
Oh.
Fish and
wings.
chips.
It'd be wings. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know.
Wait,
I mean, again,
Wait,
I would
what?
eat it, but I have no desire for it whatsoever.
Dan, what do you eat on your toast?
Butter.
Okay. Because
When-
because Tiz, who owns XRP, is always talking about eating beans on his toast.
Oh,
Yeah, I mean, in England for sure, but like over here, it's difficult to get pretty good baked beans. So it's just not something that, like in England, I would have that all the time, and you'd have your fry up and your eggs and sausages and bacon. And bacon here is like nowhere near as good as bacon in England. But again, I have to be very careful of my audience because I don't want to upset anybody. But you can keep pizza. I'm good. I'm out.
All right, so best food, any food for you from because you're a musician. What's the best thing you've had? You can pick anything. See, now it's
For
too
me, it's
wide
going to
open.
be wings, for sure.
Yeah.
From anywhere in particular.
No, just decent wings. Like I label myself as a meatitarian. Like if I ate meat every day for the rest of my life, I'm good. Everyone gives me shit because I don't eat vegetables or salads or anything remotely healthy. And if I never had a vegetable again, totally okay with that.
I had a boss one time who would order a chicken salad, and all he would get was chicken, lettuce, and ranch and cheese. And it was because the lettuce was there to transport the ranch, and all we really wanted was the cheese and the chicken.
Sure.
Notice I didn't say where he was my boss or what his name is, but anybody else want to cover that one?
Since you gave Dan a pass on the
we
pizza,
can do that.
and I think I said something about pizza before. I'm gonna say one time I got to open for the Coat Hangers, and after I played, I got to have, and I'm the opposite of Dan, I got to have seitan wings from Spack Brothers, and they tasted like the best thing ever at that time. That's it.
Okay. I don't remember. Did we?
I
Cassie,
think
did you answer?
I don't really. I don't think I should answer.
I'm new to being a performer musician wise, but I've always kind of been a performer in other ways. And like after dance recitals in high school and stuff, we would always go to Primanti's. So that kind of has a soft spot for me. I like their salads.
They have pizza now, but I've never had it.
Yeah, I'm sure there's better pizza out there.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
Has anybody ever bought pizza from Primanti's? That's a great question.
I may have to add that to it.
I used to have you could add a slice. Like you could buy a sandwich and add a slice for like $1.50 or something like that.
So a few episodes ago, I mentioned the food truck that makes pizza, and I actually got a message from them because the band that I was talking to saw them later in the week and told them that we talked about them on the podcast. So you never know. Maybe we'll get you an endorsement somehow.
From Spack Brothers?
Maybe. Tell you what, looking at the time, let's talk about you guys just released an EP, haven't played a show yet. Why don't you tell me a little bit about, and I'm going out of order here, but a little bit about what you have coming up and the song that we're going to play tonight.
So next show we've got is October 14th at Cativo with Royal Honey and with Limousine Beach. And this song, Cassie can tell you a little bit more about the lyrics. It's an interesting song. You probably heard we've got pretty diverse musical tastes in this band, and part of what started this song is my wife and I listened to a lot of Louis Prima, and we just kind of wanted that type of a swing band drum intro. Took it to Dan. He wrote the intro to this song, and then we sort of tried to add in kind of a more, a little bit more bouncy, punky vibe to it. And then if you give anything to Cassie, she's going to write like an awesome melody to it. So that's basically how the whole thing came together. So she can probably tell you a little bit more about the lyrics, though.
Thanks, Chad.
Sure.
Or a lot more.
A lot more about the lyrics. Yeah. What's the song about, Cassie?
I'm not going to get too in depth, but I'm recently back in the dating pool after a very long time, and I'm on social media and TikTok a lot, and there's the term situationship floating around. It's like more than a friendship, less than a relationship. So I've personally found myself in a situationship like that. And I just think the song's really relatable, especially with like the way dating is these days. Like nobody wants labels, or it's just even really hard to try dating. So a lot of people that I've heard listen to the song so far have said that it's just really, it's fun. And yeah, I think it's relatable.
Okay. So what we'll do next is we'll take a moment and we'll listen to Situationship. I can't believe I did that. From Stereo Scandal. There's a lot of S's there. Maybe
We're testing you. We're testing you.
some alliteration for you.
Yeah.
And we'll be right back. For those of you watching live or Memorex, you aren't actually going to get to hear the song right now because both YouTube and Facebook don't like when you do that. So you have to wait either until Friday and go to buildthescene.com, or if you've been paying attention, there's a Bandcamp address scrolling across the bottom of the video. It's stereoscandal.bandcamp.com. And I'm sure later we'll hear some more places that you can go find the band, but I haven't asked that question yet. So what we're going to do now is we're going to come in as if we just listened to that. And I think we'll play a Royal Honey song along with it. Maybe Dirty Romance, I think we'll go with. Look at that off the top of my head. I also cheated. I make their website. Okay, so the first song you heard there was from Dirty Romance from Royal Honey. That's perfect. Say I had a Bobby C. Maybe it'll make sense.
Hi, Bobby.
And then you heard from Stereo Scandal, who are hanging out with me here with their song Situationship. And we're going to ask them a few more questions and see how many more times I can stump them, or how many more times they make me let them out of the question. Okay, so this is one I haven't asked in a while, so I don't know if Tammy she probably hasn't heard this one. So a few years ago, I was teaching social studies, and I was flipping through the 5th grade social studies book, and there was a picture of this guy who died in, I think it was 1958. And he looks exactly like my college roommate, to the point that I took a picture of it. Don't tell the book publisher. And I sent it to my friend. And I was like, dude, you died in 1958. I'm like, you're a time traveler. And his response back was, well, damn. It's an identical picture of him. So my question is, if down the road people are flipping through a history book and they find Stereo Scandal in the book, why are you in that history book as a band?
Why are
That
we?
was the opposite way. I thought you were going to ask me something about like doppelgangers or something.
Headlining Woodstock 4.
I know why we would be in the history
That's
book.
mine.
Well, this is exciting. Why would
Are
we
you
be in the
gonna say
history
it?
book?
Are you gonna say it? Dave?
No, I'm dying to find out.
We're gonna be in the history book for the band with the guitars with the most pedals.
Oh,
And that would not
nice.
be accurate.
That would be very accurate.
No.
Someone somewhere has beaten him. Somewhere.
Oh, definitely. Steve
Right.
Morris. I think that comes to mind very quickly.
You have more pedals than I have: drums, cymbals, stands, pedals, sticks, accessories.
It looks like there's so many lights. It honestly looks like the end of Close Encounters of the Third Kind. Like it's that kind of a light display just on the ground. It's absurd. It is absurd.
Like, I'm going to build him a custom stand and stage just to put his pedal boards on, which sits adjacent to the main stage.
You guys are brutal.
Harsh but fair, Cassie. Harsh but fair.
All right, listen. So I'm going to let you guys answer this question, but I do band photography, as Tammy knows. And sometimes I go into venues that don't have enough lighting. Is there enough light coming from his pedal board for me to get a
100%.
photo?
Not only is there enough light, but he bought 2 stage lights to light up his pedal board in addition. Like
They're not coming to the show on Friday. They're just for practice.
No.
yeah.
No, they're not coming. They're just for practice.
It's like we're always
you're
kind of
like-
like half afraid that he's going to do something with his pedal board and it's going to throw off some form of like some plane's guidance system or something. Like it's honestly, it's that absurd. We will have
Pittsburgh
a tap
Airport has
moment.
pulled us a couple of times.
Yeah, it's just
Obviously, you
insane.
guys haven't seen Swerve Driver yet. So-
Yeah.
Okay. So the question was, now I forgot.
she answered it.
Well, why would we? Yeah,
Why you would be
I
in the
think she
history
answered
book?
it.
Yeah.
it's
Well,
yeah, it's
that's
sort of
the
like
answer, I guess.
yeah, it's sort of like Spinal Tap's like we're the world's loudest band. We're the world's biggest pedal board. Yeah, I think that's fair.
Hey, we'll go with the band answer on that one though.
Okay.
'Cause you all seem to be in agreement.
Yeah.
Well, I don't have a choice. So-
This could be this could be a band question too, because it's kind of going to be a tough one, especially for Cassie, who's said she's new to the band thing, and I'm giving you a little bit of leadway on this one, but let's say you are going to manage a band from the Pittsburgh scene, and you can handpick every member of the band. So they can't be in your band because you guys are the managing group. Who are you going to put in your band?
From the Pittsburgh scene.
From the Pittsburgh, like the tri-state area.
Oh yeah,
You know, if you've played with them somewhere, or that counts. But you have to mention a band too, because this is you helping them get heard about.
Gotcha. I love our singer, but I would say second up on singers would be the singer for Denora, Cassie Hanner. That's my input. Casey. That was Casey, actually. I think it mispronounced. Sorry.
Just like fantasy football, make your band up.
Yep.
Oh, I had another one, and they make
Yeah,
it
go
out
ahead.
of this one.
If you can make a whole band by yourself, go ahead, and then we'll make everybody else do it.
No, I like that, Cassie. Josh Rabani's from Meeting of Important People, but playing drums. I played in the side project with him called The Victors, and he plays Keith Moon better than Keith Moon. So that'd be my drummer. I got two.
Oh, we can all chip in a member.
Yeah.
Metal Mary on bass.
From what
Yeah,
band?
I mean, the problem is a couple of us didn't. Dan and I are both kind
Yeah.
of new to Pittsburgh. Although
I think me and Tammy
there was
played
a
with a bunch of people.
You picked the rest, Dave.
there was a band from Pittsburgh for a while back called Tabula Rasa that had an amazing drummer.
Yeah.
And I would probably go with the drummer from Tabula Rasa. Or isn't Damon Shea from here? From Don Caballero.
Yes.
I mean, you can't go wrong. I mean, Don Caballero's drummer, that Damon Shea, that's got to be like, that's one of my top 10 favorite drummers, period. So I'd go with Damon Shea.
Chad's got two drummers.
Sorry, Dan.
Yeah, I'm going to say nothing because clearly the drums are a problem.
So we're missing a guitar player, Dave. Can you pick a guitar player?
Brian Sproul from Chalk Outline Party. He used to.
There you
Can I say this? I don't know if I can say this on here. He used to play with a little vibrator.
Okay,
that
then.
was a lot of that.
Go forward.
Did he like slide guitar with it, or
No. It would just put it on the strings, and then he'd put it on the floor, and it would like vibrate away, and he'd have to chase it down during the show.
What shows are you seeing, Dave?
Chalk Outline Party. They were a great band back.
Just music shows, Dave.
That was just music shows. No, there's something else.
Okay, then. Sure.
All right.
Crazy
So-
Americans.
So along that, what shows
I
are you
have played
singing? Are you guys familiar with Only Flesh from Pittsburgh?
I was going to mention them. I've seen them, and they're a lot of fun.
I have not, and I don't plan on singing them. So Cassie, if you would like to tell them about that band, you can do that.
Only Flesh does flesh suspension, where they put like hooks in the skin and
I can't watch that
them,
part.
like hang from the ceiling when they're singing and stuff. That's really crazy.
Yeah.
And they do. I've seen with like the Sparks and stuff. They do a bunch of crazy like sideshow type stuff.
Mhm.
Yeah.
And the music is good, but
Mhm.
there's no way I'm going to see him live.
Oh, I have to.
Yeah.
It was an experience.
I did, and they didn't do the skin stuff.
Yeah.
So it depends.
I think
It's nothing I would ever do, but
I think Mudville Casey is with me.
Yeah, but I don't think they're
Yeah.
currently. I think it is more of just a suspension thing right now. But I'm not, don't quote me.
I saw them maybe like 3 years ago at Spirit, and it was like this big Halloween kind of event, and they were suspending and playing at the same time. It's pretty
Chad
cool.
has been shaking his head since we played the band.
I watched there. So Dan and I both used to live in Phoenix, and we're brothers-in-law, and our wives both wanted to move to Pittsburgh, so we moved to Pittsburgh. But there was a band in Phoenix called, I want to say they were called the Belfry Bats. It was like a rockabilly band, but their singer was this woman, Danny Danger, who would do the suspension stuff at a rockabilly show. Suspension and like electrocutions and, just very straight up sort of psychobilly, rockabilly stuff, and then would just shove a meat hook through her back. And I was like, well, this is not fun. She would talk to me about it all the time. She's like, oh no, you just eat some sweet tarts and it keeps you from passing out. I was like, not shoving a meat hook through your back will also keep you from passing out. I mean, if you want to save money on the sweet tarts, it's probably a good way to do it. So, yeah, it's one of the more horrific things I've ever seen a band do.
Wow.
So this question has taken a complete left turn.
Yeah,
And it's my
What's
fault.
the
I brought up
question?
the band.
It's your fault. You brought it up. Yeah.
I don't know that I've ever mentioned them on the show. So that is a band to check out. Maybe not live, but check them out. I don't even remember what the question was at this point.
Picking local
Something
band,
about meat hooks,
local
I
We
band.
think.
formed a band.
Oh, yeah.
Formed a band. So
We had a bass player, two drummers, a singer.
yeah, we
Did
covered
we
it.
pick
Yeah,
and a
well.
guitarist, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Are you good with that list?
The go-go dancers from Venus and Furs.
There you go.
Oh, there you go.
Oh, and
Yeah.
the grinder. Gotta get the grinder too.
Yeah,
You
that's
still
what I
do
was
that?
trying to think of. I've
Yeah,
seen
yeah,
them
yeah.
too. Yeah.
Good one. Oh, and the horn section from Inco Fido. Just make it as big as they
Oh
are.
wow, this band's got everything.
The last time I talked to them, there were 11 people in that band. Are they still that big?
I like how you said the last time
Yeah.
you talked to them.
Well,
They just keep expanding. Yeah.
listen,
Yeah.
this is episode 639. I've talked to a lot of bands, sometimes more than once. Sometimes members in different bands, like Joey Connor, who's
Yeah.
currently the lead guitarist of Black Ridge. He's been on the show in 5 different bands.
Wow. I didn't know.
Wow.
And they told him if he didn't eat, I forget what it was, but it was going to have to be 6 because they were kicking him out. I can't remember what it was. But he said he's going to eat it because he likes staying in the band. I'm throwing it up here. So Medville Casey says next week a band that plays in a pool with a great white shark. But okay, so you guys are going out on your first major tour. For some reason, you hire me to drive the tour bus. What is the soundtrack going to be on that tour bus?
Oh my
Oh,
God.
we just did
Man,
this.
it's gonna be a
We
mess.
did.
Yeah, we just took a road trip out to DC to go see Jawbox play.
Before
And
Tammy,
did
unfortunately.
essentially everybody had to put together, like, because it's 4 hours out to DC, a 1 hour playlist on the drive out. And the honestly, it's probably going to be the most diverse like playlist ever. We had stuff like Howlin' Wolf on there, Led Zeppelin, some 80s new wave, couple of metal bands, some 90s sort of space rock bands. Like it's probably going to be like taking your iTunes account and just putting it on shuffle, basically. So anything you can possibly play, I feel like everybody pretty much listens to just about anything. I mean, if you go to our practices when we're talking about stuff, a lot of times it's like, well, this should probably sound more like this 1980s hairband part right here, and then this part we should do more like a Latin thing, and yeah. So I think it's honestly just going to be like a super shuffle playlist of everything you could think of. I think.
But Chad does love John Mayer and Jack.
Oh,
like he's a
yeah,
both,
no.
Every time he talks about just doing certain parts, he gets excited.
Yeah. It's a talented guitar player and just an awful musician. Jesus. That's no. Yeah, that's not for me. Probably no super corporate pop, but other than that, yeah.
When I did my playlist, it was all British bands. So to be fair, they all did pretty good identifying the bands. So it was a good trip. Good music.
That became the fun part, trying to guess the bands. That was kind of interesting.
Yeah, it got pretty competitive in the car.
That did. Yes.
Yeah.
I think Dan won, or Chad won, by a little bit.
I had a question pop in my head and it's gone. It'll come back, maybe. Any gearheads in the band besides David?
Oh,
I don't want to hear.
Chad is.
I don't want to hear about pedals. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Hey, Chad, most important piece of equipment that goes up on stage with you?
Oh, it's got to be it, and it depends on the mood I'm in, but it's always whatever bass I'm playing at that time. I mean, I'm really really into these 1970s Japanese basses, a bunch of like Fender knockoff basses and some oddball basses. And right now it's a Fernandez 1978 copy of a 1956 Fender P bass that I play right now, and it's an awesome bass. Just sounds great, but I'm like in love with that thing right now. So,
anybody else want to pick a piece of equipment and tell us about it?
I can pick other than the pedals.
Okay.
And actually, I have Chad and Dan to thank for it. Is the guitar I'm using now is Hagstrom Swede that's been a bit hot rodded, and I love the sound for it. It's like everything I wanted in a guitar. It has a coil splitter and phase shifter on it. That's like beautiful. Because Chad found it because I'm left-handed, so it's very hard to find anything fun guitar wise. And Chad found it somewhere, and then Dan helped me haggle it down to a price I can afford, or not, but bought it anyway.
Yeah, I got into.
It's just the accent. That's all I'm used to.
That's what it was. Yeah.
Well, I got into Hagstroms. One of my favorite guitars is a Hagstrom Viking that I bought. I've got like just a closet full of guitars, and I used to play this Hagstrom Viking, but I always liked the Swedes. Dave likes Les Pauls, but I was like, well, have you tried a Hagstrom Swede? It's basically a Les Paul with like a sort of bred with a D'Acquisto or a D'Angelico type guitar, and then we found one, and you get a hold of somebody who's selling it, and I think it was on Music Around. We're like, yeah, I mean, you need to find a left-handed guitar player that knows what the hell a Hagstrom Swede is, or you can just sell it to us for nothing. So those are your options, and and that's kind of how that happened. Yeah, that guitar is beautiful. It sounds amazing. That is a great guitar.
Yeah, and it now alleviates me from having to buy a Les Paul, because I like this one's totally fine for me.
Yeah,
and I would say right now that there's sort of a shift going on, because I play a little Ludwig Quest like backbeat 3-piece kit, which is just definitely been a great tool for us, and that sort of, I love the simplicity of the 3-piece, but I don't think it's going to quite make it to shows. So last night I sent out a vote to the band to pick my next drum kit, so stay tuned for that.
You should make a poll on what color.
There you go.
yeah.
Yeah,
It's got
Yeah, we can do that. But yeah, I used to play sort of 7-piece drums, and I've gone back to a 3-piece, and I love the simplicity of it. And I feel like just getting the most out of that 3-piece kit is what a lot of drummers are kind of going for now. And I just love the elegance and the fact you have to work every drum to get the most of it. Not that there's anything wrong with a 5-piece, 7-piece, 9-piece, but I just love the simplicity of the 3-piece.
All right, so I have another question for just Dan. Have you played in the Pittsburgh scene at all yet?
No.
Okay, so when they tell you that they want to go to the Smiling Moose when you have the bigger kit, the answer is no.
No.
I might have warned them.
Yeah, you've warned. Yeah.
Unless they're helping you carry.
Okay. No.
You can find the parking space, and you can get
Yeah.
up the stairs.
Are you referring to the stairs?
Yes.
Yeah.
Brillo box isn't any easier.
Yeah, it's about this. Yeah.
See, now they're helping you. Start making
Yeah.
the list.
Yeah. Places with stairs. Yeah.
Okay. So let's go with 2 more questions. One of them will be the easy question that I told you it would be at the end that I haven't asked yet. And the other one is the official Build a Scene question. Sorry, Tammy, I can't avoid this one. It's who's your Dave Grohl, which means, yeah, see, which means if you could go up on stage and play with any musician in the world and play their song with them,
Gotcha.
Ooh.
who are you going to go up on stage with, and which song would you like to play with them? Because, you know, the Foo Fighters do that all the time. I watch those videos nonstop on YouTube.
I don't remember the song being part of it.
God,
Again, you've been
I got
asked
2.
multiple
I got
times.
2.
I have to add twists.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Everybody else go. I gotta think.
I got 2. So can I can't pick over the 2.
Okay. You can name 2.
Yeah, it'd be Ty Tabor from King's X playing Summerland. Or Evan Franklin from Swerve Driver playing Rave Down. To be the 2.
Rave Down, that's a good one.
I love that song. It's a good cover song.
Yeah, I mean,
Hint.
I'd be hard pressed. Like it'd either be it's a band out of Kansas City that I love called Shiner. So it'd either be now I want to call that song Situationship, and that's not the name of their first song. But the first song in their album, Lilo Divini, and now I'm going to blank on it because I'm stuck. Or Savory with Jawbox.
Oh,
Yeah, Savory with Jawbox would be a pretty good one.
that's hard to choose from that band too. That's a tough
Yeah.
one. That's where we went to DC for, by the way. They see Jawbox. Me and Chad loved it. Cassie had fun. Dan tolerated us.
I drank.
You drank it.
Tammy looks like she might.
I actually just thought of something.
It's not going to be bad
but I
religion. I
could-
just assumed it'd be bad religion.
I could probably bet. I could probably
Yes,
pick Cassie's
I
band.
never said that before, but I was just thinking, yeah, you are the government. Because it's really
There you
short, too.
I think we can pick the band for Cassie. I think.
Yeah, probably.
Oh, good Muse, right?
Muse, yeah, right.
Yeah, Muse of Sidonia by Muse, because it's just so much fun, and all the harmonies and stuff would be fun to sing.
Mm.
Yeah, my answer is not. It's going to be a shocker for most of them, but there was an amazing film called The Commitments in 1991,
yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
and like that whole soundtrack for me, you know, just to have that ability to play all that sort of music in that style, like I would love to do that. I know it's kind of a weird answer, but if you haven't seen The Commitments, it's such a cool film, but the music from it is spectacular, and that would be my choice.
That's a good answer, Dan.
Okay. All right, so here is that easy question I promised. Where should the listeners go to find your music and to find you online?
Where shouldn't they go?
Everywhere.
So,
Yeah.
yeah, we are on. You can find us on Spotify. You can find us on iTunes. You can find us on YouTube. You can find us on Bandcamp, which is probably the thing that we regulate more than just going through our distribution company. You can find us on Facebook. You can find us on Instagram. You can find us on Twitter. So all the usual suspects. You can find Stereo Scandal on any of them.
And TikTok.
And TikTok. Yeah.
Cassie's been keeping that one going.
The TikToks, as the kids are calling it. Yeah.
So, okay, I do this all the time. I think of another question after I say I'm only asking you one more question.
Sure.
You guys are a pretty new band, and you have an Englishman from Phoenix with you. And how did all of this come together?
So Dave put an ad in Craigslist for somebody who knew who Swerve Driver was. So Dave and I both have this real similar musical taste in these sort of 90s space rock and indie rock bands. And originally I answered the ad, and that's what we were going to do. We put an ad out for a singer. We'd written some kind of heavier stuff that was very 90s based. And then the singer who answered was Cassie. And if you hear Cassie's vocals, like, it's a waste to do that type of music with her. She's just got this big voice. So we tried to like steer it toward that. And we had a drummer briefly who was a little less than interested, I think, once we started going in that direction. And of course, Dan's my brother-in-law. I knew he played drums. I just knew he wouldn't like the heavier stuff. So we got Dan on board, which changed us a little bit more again, because Dan's got like this real sort of a little bit more of like a dancey poppy feel to stuff. I mean, he's a powerful drummer, but more like how Arctic Monkeys occasionally does something that's a little bit more dancey, you know, which changed the whole dynamic of the band again. And then at the end of it, it was like, well, we really need a punchy guitar player and somebody who can sing backup vocals. Then Tammy became available, and that's just the perfect fit, you know. So that's basically it. I mean, it all just kind of came together, and that's how you get what we are.
And if you haven't figured out yet, Chad is the band director who gives us all of this direction and tells us what to do. And he'll occasionally come to me on drums and be like, so can you do this? And he'll get on the drums and play a pretty bad version of it. And I'm like, that's what you want. And then
I can play guitar, I can play bass, I cannot play drums.
And lead us to success.
He does.
Yeah, I don't think
he doesn't want to admit it, but
everybody
he's very
has
humble.
their roles.
Yeah, I mean, the reality is everybody writes the songs. I mean, we don't have. There's nobody who just puts something together. It's you know, any given song, multiple people have written multiple parts, and we're pretty open toward suggestions from one another. So you know, someone will say like, one of the songs that we submitted is the song "Scream," and I had kind of written that one. I thought soup to nuts, had done the whole thing. Showed it to the band. Cassie took a recording of it, went home, came back, and was like, "You need to cut this part shorter. This is too mopey. It needs to be dancey. Like, it needs to be more aggressive." And I'm like, "All right, yeah, I get it." And then as soon as Dave heard it sound like that, he was like, "Oh, well, then we can do this type of there's like an instrumental break in the middle that Dave wrote, and the intro and outro both came from Dan, which is all pretty much, to be honest, that's kind of the roles that we play on a lot of songs. I feel like Dave writes a lot of our bridges and Dan writes a lot of our intros and outros. Cassie does a lot of the arranging. So it's really, I mean, they joke about that, but it's really more of a collaborative thing than I think they just know it sort of annoys me for them to be like, "Oh, you're the band director. Come on, band Nazi. What are we doing now?"
Like the Mama Duck.
you can do whatever you want, but try this.
Right. Yeah. You can do anything you want. Let's just all try this one time. And if if you don't like it, we'll move on. Yeah.
I was gonna say something. I'll tell it to you off the air. Sometimes I have to remember that I teach. So with that said, this has been episode number 639 of the Pennsylvania Rock Show. At this time, we're going to play some more of the best unsigned rock and metal that Pennsylvania has to offer. You check us out each and every Friday night, well, actually Friday morning, 6 a.m. But if you want to listen to it on the radio station at Build a Scene, that starts at 8 p.m. And then all those stations I mentioned about an hour ago that I'm not going to re-mention, but you can find them by going to Build a Scene. They're listed under the Pennsylvania Rock Show podcast that shows you what time on each station. I will mention Oldies XL, which is our newest affiliate out of Philadelphia. They are an oldies station. They play us at 3 a.m. on Monday because we don't really fit their musical stylings, but they came to me, so I was like, "Yeah, play it." And 3 Questions and a Song is my other podcast. That is the 1st and 15th of each month, and then we have a live show with XRP Radio out of Scotland. xrpradio.co.uk. Jonna from First Angel Media and I join Kat and Tiz from XRP, and we battle it out with music from our scene versus music from what they're playing, and it's fun. I don't have the next date, so just keep an eye out on Facebook and on buildascene.com for that. With that said, we'll catch you next time. I want to thank you guys for hanging out with me. Make sure you go to stereoscandal.bandcamp.com and all those other places that they mentioned just moments ago. All right. So I'm going to probably go talk to them for a few more minutes. The rest of you are going to hear some of that unsigned rock and metal that I mentioned. We will see you next week.
Thanks for having us.